opposed his discoveries?
I mean, firstly, Jenner's idea of vaccination puts out of business an entire group of people who've been practicing an older form called variolation, based on the inoculation of smallpox pus ground up from pustules under the skin. Jenner himself had experienced this kind of variolation when he was a young boy. It was a long and painful process, but it did give some degree of immunity to smallpox. But Jenner's discovery of vaccination suddenly puts the variolators out of business, so they're opposed to him, apart from anything else. But the ringleader of the rubbishing of Jenner was a very large medical personality instead, a chap called Benjamin Moseley. Moseley is one of the most elite doctors practicing in London in this period. And he rubbishes Jenner's work, Jenner's character, the possibility that vaccination represents a cure for smallpox. He publishes an entire slew of pamphlets, and it does get very, very dirty, very, very nasty, very, very quickly.
As we know, the country doctor famously refused to profit from his research, but some metropolitan colleagues were far less scrupulous.
Enter George Pearson, a wealthy doctor practicing here in Hanover Square. He immediately realised the importance of Jenner's discovery and started vaccinating his patients. He even sent out 200 specimens of smallpox vaccine to doctors around the country, but not once did he mention the name of Edward Jenner.
Vaccination and Jenner were mired in turmoil. It was just all too agricultural.
The word vaccine, if we're talking about an elite, literate London society here, of course they will speak Latin, and every time they hear the word vaccine, they think of cow, vacca. Perhaps when you're vaccinated, you take on, in some strange way, some aspect of the cow, some of its physique or some of its character. There's a wonderful cartoon by James Gilray of people queuing up to be vaccinated, and just as the vaccine is rubbed into their skin, cows' heads start springing out of their arms, or their facial features start to take on the aspect of a cow. And of course, this also doesn't just apply to physique, this applies to character as well. Perhaps if you're vaccinated, you will become bovine, you will become slow and stupid and sort of sit around all day, as it were, mentally chewing the cud rather than being a sort of sharp, intelligent kind of person.
Despite the great promise vaccination still holds for us to cure disease, opposition remains. But are the arguments any different?
It's quite interesting because whenever something new happens in vaccination, the same arguments get resuscitated. So the same arguments bubble up again. If you look at them in detail, and particularly if you go onto the internet and see the examples that they're citing, they often hark back to history, and you can trace them right back to the early 1800s, to Jenner and the reaction to him and his vaccination.